But that was game one. Very strong showing coming out for Retribution, but picks and bans are ready. CycloneGG picking the first pick and ban this time around.
Nobody knows the trouble I've seen.
Oh my goodness.
I made you do one yesterday, so I figured
Yes,
I'd
you
put
did.
myself on the spot this time around.
I appreciate it. That's all you.
So now, do you know the original, or do you know it from The Lion King? That's the real question. Probably
Both.
The Lion King.
Okay, no, it's the Lion King.
CycloneGG started off Odin ban, and
Of
that's
course.
you know it's interesting. Yes, Odin rocked out that game, but if you asked me, right,
Yeah.
what a Mango Man guy, I would not answer Odin. Right, so that's one of the beauties of having these snap picks that wind up dominating. The Odin dominated that game, but there are so many other options.
Yeah, but options that are not going to be able to be picked are Freya, Terra, and Nemesis.
Ooh.
And you're excited because that's a Sobek.
Well, I'm more excited to see that the ban last time around came from Homework, and it wasn't a throwaway ban that we were really talking about. Retribution first banned Sobek in game one, if you missed it, and we sat here and basically the analysis I brought was that the fact that the Sobek was banned more as a throwaway ban to see what top tier pick both teams could elect to go for. But with Cyclone locking in that Sobek numero uno, that's got to mean something. Either it's Ezzuna or DineOhSaw really going to make it work.
And I mean, they know what they make work. Banning out the Freya for themselves just to keep Retribution off of it. Cyclone could have used it easily, but they wanted to take that Sobek over everything else. Retribution locking in that Athena.
And the Athena has been very kind to the guys on Retribution. It's a good pick. It works out very well. We even saw it in the last game work out well. And regardless of the team, you see success, especially you're going to combine it with a giant AoE damage like Zeus, clearly just taunt somebody into the rainstorm and make it happen.
It worked nicely. So coming out, Athena and Zeus paired up together, but the Kuang, we haven't seen him in quite some time, going to get picked up. And the Guan Yu, these big bands coming out that you can't pick up because you're more worried about other things.
Kuang, sure, like he's powerful.
It's all about the Guan.
It's the Guan, baby. I mean, we were just mentioning how important it is that these team fights stay extended because of those reinforced greaves and how big of an impact they are. Well, guess what? Guan Yu's going to make these fights even longer, and the team that has Guan is going to be in a good spot. Retribution almost have to find some sort of sustain to match this Guan Yu. I think in a world without reinforced greaves, the Guan Yu is very tough to deal with, but at worst, a major annoyance that you have to build around. When it comes to a world with reinforced greaves, I think you have to answer with sustain. Otherwise, you're just going to be on the wrong side.
So the two biggest jungle picks have been banned out, Nemesis and Susano. Retribution love running these two. So I'm kind of curious what they're going to go ahead and pick up, but the Neath, Kronos banned out. Since they have the Zeus, they don't have to worry about the Raijin.
Sure, and with the Neath ban, very important. The Kuang, so much synergy there. Kuang has a target. Neath is able to not only stun them and get Kuang a little bit closer, but also bring them closer to that execute range. The Kuang Neath combo is something that we see all across the board. And then Kronos, I mean, he's just one of the big boys lately.
I mean, in Kronos, it comes back to that magical ADC. You see Freya. I mean, Sol and Kronos can have the same effect. Oh, no Fenrir.
Nope.
Rip.
Nope.
Rip the dream.
No Fenrir.
I mean, Fenrir's really good. I really like I like the place he's in right now. But they're gonna pick Batz instead over the Fenrir, the Susano, and the Nemesis because they have been banned out.
So the interesting choice here for Batz, I always love Batz, and I think Batz is one of these characters that can fit into virtually any composition.
Yeah.
And be very powerful. He can really control whether you want him to be an initiator or a secondary, the response to the enemy initiation, right? But Batz and the Zeus, not exactly the most not exactly the most cohesive combination out of jungle mid, but still an excellent pick overall for the team.
Yeah, I mean, that ultimate is probably one of the strongest ultimates in the game. You're putting Batz together, you're putting Zeus, then, you know, because of the fear, it may not work as well, but you're still pumping out so much damage for everybody else on the team. But Cyclone want to pump out some damage of their own, picking up the Janus as well as the Jing.
And that's certainly going to allow them to be very, very mobile. Kuang, obviously, after the fact, can use his ultimate after eating somebody up to go and traverse the map. Jing going to do that out of the base, and Janus can do it from wherever he really feels fit.
We don't see a lot of Amaterasu, but she's been locked in, more than likely going to that solo lane, so we'll have to see how that works out for her. But CycloneGG and Retribution playing another game. Retribution taking the first one off, getting their points on the board.
Very important that Ezzuna is playing on the Sobek and not on the Guan Yu. Guan Yu into the Amaterasu would have been a very poor matchup for Guan. The Ezzuna, though, this Sobek pick was sort of dictated from the beginning. Ezzuna plays this solo Sobek pretty well, very well, actually. We've seen it a couple of times here in the SPL already, and definitely, ladies and gentlemen, expect a good performance out of Ezzuna on the Sobek.
I mean, we've seen Ezzuna play Sobek before, and it's been a masterpiece. As soon as he gets to start to rotate, you see the plucks, you see the big plays.
Instant impact.
Yes, instant impact on no matter what god he's played. I remember talking about the same thing in week 1. We talked about how as soon as he started rotating, no matter what he's on, he just knows where to go. The shot calls are perfect, the picks are perfect.
And that's what you need when you're playing at this high level. You can't really just depend on, hey man, I push my buttons really good, because guess what? Everybody pushes their buttons really good here in the Pro League. And what it comes down to is how you're able to play as a unit.
And I kind of like Bloakley coming in on the Janus, because you're going to be able to self-peel for yourself. And Elexum, it's going to take so much damage when it comes to, you know, the unstable vortex after the portal.
Yeah, it's a huge combination, and Elexum has to definitely be careful. ManLikeJeron, he's going to take some poke, but he'll have that ultimate in a couple of levels, and that's really what you're looking for. Once the Batz hits level 5, then he's able to really have a party. But before then, a very quiet monkey.
Yeah, no party monkey to level 5. I remember hearing you say that before as well, but rotations are going to be good. Retribution taking the rather unsafe route to get to the left mid-camp. Is going to be able to dispatch of those quickly, and there's nothing really on the board for Cyclone to really do right now except for farm. And in the duo lane, they're keeping up the pressure. They're pushing them back into the tower.
And then nobody from Retribution is really able to respond. Cyclone was staying there in the lane. With Cyclone going to the back Harpies, talking about Cyclone's mid lane here, Retribution could have made that rotation over the left-hand side, but I like the decision to stay put. You're going to need that farm, and you're not guaranteed anything should you shift over to the left.
Yeah, if we see ganks, they normally happen about this time into the 2-minute mark. They'll both pick up and they'll both go over, but with so much pressure coming out, they know exactly what was happening. If you backed off, I mean, at that point, don't play your cards. Don't show your hand.
No, let them sit down. Sometimes it's more beneficial that way. You have more options in the bank, and of course your opponent doesn't know what you're doing. Good taunt to stop the Tallow Assault out of the Odin, or excuse me, the Guan Yu this time around. Different warrior, but certainly able to really just do the job. More of the sustain giver than the real wave clear.
So do you think we're going to see more of a passive farming game this one instead of just a out of the gate stomp fest coming out from Retribution?
From Retribution, I gather that that'll be somewhat of the idea. But as soon as Jeron, he's level 5 now, as soon as Jeron is able to really make that play, I expect to see it. Jeron, a very aggressive player. But as for everybody else, I don't know. I think this is more of a late game oriented team composition, and I don't think that players like Welsh are really minding that they've got to wait.
Yep, Ezzuna gonna get a good tail up onto Mango Man. Finish off those fire imps as well. Gonna go ahead and back off, but so far, pretty quiet. Not too much going on just yet. We're waiting. It's the calm before the storm. Both teams have tasted blood. They want to keep going. Ezzuna is literally a shark, but he can't start yet.
Nah, he's got to wait it out just a little bit. Nothing on the board. Very early on in this game. Just passing Pi. And everybody just kind of looking for their own individual windows. And for what it's worth, both teams very good at security this time around.
And I think the big question here with the item changes, who in this match is going to benefit from the tank boots this time? Are we going to see 8 across the board?
I always expect, I think, to see 8. 4 for everybody but the Hunter. But every now and then you get an aggressive player that thinks they really need the extra power from those Warrior or Boots of the Magi.
I mean, well, we'll have to see. Not to the point yet where we're going to build into those items, but it's kind of nice to get an idea of what's going on in the players' heads. Retribution taking the right mid harpies, and Auzrik could just sit and watch. That's all he could do.
I mean, like I said, at this point, Auzrik, the Kuang is certainly not a good candidate for really taking these fights, especially early on. He's not really supposed to be team fighting this much, so he's going to be able to play it safe a little bit.
And last week, we saw Auzrik play the Kuang before, and that's one of the matches that he unfortunately wasn't able to really get the start off on. Xbalanque going to get popped, more than likely just to go ahead and get away from the Jing way. HazZy has no mana right now, and Welsh had to use that to get out as well.
Yeah, that's going to leave a few options across the way. But Cyclone just going to take the advantage and head back to base. I like that choice.
I mean, nothing's happening right now, so why not?
Exactly.
Like I said, calm before the storm. We're in the eye of the hurricane. We just had the first bit. Now we're waiting, and we're going to have the second bit.
It's rare that you're really able to get that breakdown like that, so certainly something that the teams need to nurture.
And I mean, I'm kind of curious, just because I've been watching Auzrik for the past couple of weeks. There's 4 weeks now gameplay. This is his last game of the day.
Sure.
And we're not... I don't know. I kind of see him as more of a gank jungler. He doesn't do this much farming, so it's really weird to see Auzrik in a position of being passive.
I mean, like I said, with the Kuang, he's kind of forced into being passive because Sun Wukong can really mess up your day.
I mean, Sun Wukong and Batz as well. Mango Man gonna be able to
Gobble,
not
gobble.
get away. Auzrik gonna find the kill, find him a nice tasty snack for first blood, and he's not stopping there. Gonna get a little bit of poke onto Elexum, but pop the detonate.
And that's exactly what we were mentioning earlier, right? The fact that the Fear to Evil is going to be very powerful, but will spread people in different directions. So you're going to want to see more of the target selection, I think, from Retribution.
I mean, they popped a couple of ultimates in that fight. Mango Man as well with the Amaterasu, but for the most part, oh, DineOhSaw, you're stuck, buddy. That was a bad idea. You're gonna be able to heal that back up, but he was alone back there. He had no support. If he didn't have that conviction, he wouldn't have been able to sustain in there. He would have had to back off.
Very true, very true. And that Guan Yu, ooh, I shudder. As Guan Yu gets later and later to the game, we're going to see just how much he meant to this squad. Remind me, Tiger, I want to look at healing much later.
Healing much later. I am writing it down right now because it's going to be a pretty ridiculous number. And I feel bad because as I'm talking about Auzrik being passive, boom, it's the caster's curse. There he goes and finds a kill. But gonna find himself some fire imps and really start to get that farming, really start to find that Kuang.
And it's about time that we get that first blood online, and the Kuang is absolutely the target that you want to put it on. Like you were mentioning earlier, Auzrik, not exactly the farming player, but with the character he's on, he's got to be that farming character. But by going for the aggression and getting the first blood, he's able to really jumpstart that play.
Look at that defense. Retribution, yeah, they're gonna split those camps, but there were 3 people zoning to make sure that buff did not get stolen. CycloneGG are putting up, I mean, they haven't done anything too gigantic in this game to make me wonder why they're so afraid, but Retribution don't want to lose any bit of anything.
I mean, they really can't afford to.
No.
Honestly, Tiger. They've got this composition that doesn't really allow much wiggle room. I mean, you've got this Zeus that's highly susceptible to dying pretty much all the time. Mango Man isn't going to make an impact until a little bit later, unlike the Sun Wukong that we're used to seeing, unlike the Odin that carried the early game last time around. It's pretty much, you've got to get this 3v3 composition in the mid lane working on all units, because on all cylinders, because if it's not doing it, I don't know if Retribution's going to be able to make it a little bit later.
CycloneGG looked like they wanted to sniff over at the Gold Fury, possibly just throwing down a ward, but Zeus had left. He was heading right back to the mid lane, wouldn't have heard anything, wouldn't have seen anything either. So, I mean, if you were Cyclone, would you have kept going? Would you have actually tried to take it?
I don't know about that one. I think it's the problem is again, going back to the composition for Retribution, Elexum can just drop the Rain Cloud. All the ultimates that Retribution have work too well against a team trying to siege an objective.
They're playing with my emotions here. We see these giant rotations, sometimes 3-4 mans over at the Gold Fury, and it's just to take a ward.
See, I'm not taking the bait here. I'm a little bit more relaxed. I'm kind of hanging out. I've got, I'm understanding that Retribution, they're not going to go for these. They're not going to go and really attack head on unless you're absolutely forced into it. Auzrik can end somebody's life relatively early. Bloakley and DineOhSaw are going to be able to have the upper hand this early on in the game. Retribution need to wait a little bit longer before they can go head-to-head.
Good taunt onto Auzrik, forcing out DineOhSaw's ultimate as well. The good slow onto CobbY, but there goes the Fear No Evil, and now Auzrik going to be able to water clone out, but lots of aggression. Both teams wanted to fight, but neither were in the position to.
Yeah, neither team could really find that, like you said, the positioning, and it was kind of just sort of haphazard. That's the term I want to use, where you can see everybody wanted to go for it, but no real aggression. This one, this is going to be the stick. Retribution are going to stick to this one. Cyclone are going to come in and show up, but the ultimates are out from Retribution.
I mean, and it's going down pretty quick, but Gold Fury is going to go to CycloneGG. There you go. That was all Hazzy.
And that one, like I said, Retribution dropped all the ultimates. You can see there was a little bit of dissension in the ranks, however. Trouble in the enemy jungle as CobbY going to be aggressed on and killed. Ezzuna making the rotation fruitful.
And Jeron going to get plucked back. There was the purification as well. And now Mango Man getting aggressed upon by 4 members. Going to get a little bit of damage coming out from that shield, but look who's in execution range, and look who just got executed.
Auzrik puts number 3 on the board for CycloneGG. And he thinks about being aggressive. Ultimately, he will shy on the safer side of things. But right there, going back to the Gold Fury Tiger,
yeah.
I mean, that was, you saw the miscommunication or the non-communication coming out of Retribution. Elexum drops the ultimate as everybody else walks away.
Yep.
Now you've got a situation where you're forced to commit. I think the right call was to back off there, especially with the lack of Wrath, especially with the lack of a one big, you don't have a Kuang ult, you've got a Zeus ultimate, right? So you don't have this big hit to really secure the Gold Fury for yourself. I think the right call is to back off, but not everybody got that memo. So Retribution realized they have to stick to the target and wind up getting stolen underneath their noses.
A little bit of trouble in paradise. I think both teams have a little bit of a history of not being able to lock down their objectives. And it just comes from little plays like that. It's not even big mess ups, it's just the little things. It's an ultimate, it's an ability, and it's just a steal.
It's just it's the smaller items that just aren't going to be able to make it through.
And those are what stack up, and those are what break momentum. We were talking about momentum last game. It's little things like that that break momentum. And Cyclone, while it's only going to continue theirs, Retribution really wanted to get a play going, and we see the halt.
Man, I was really trying to avoid saying little things, so I said the smaller items, and it just didn't work out.
It's all right. It's just the little things, F-Dot. Just the little things.
And don't sweat the small stuff.
There you go.
That's something that my English teacher taught me. And while that might be good for your health, it's not good for your Smite game. You need to pay attention to all the details. And right now, all of the details in the mid lane. Beautiful ultimate out of the Hun Batz, and that's going to work out perfectly for Retribution as they deter Cyclone after their own initiation.
Yeah, they all scatter. But here comes the Wrath coming through. Auzrik with the beautiful teleport with the clone, but Elexum gonna find DineOhSaw because of it. Good tail whip and a good pluck onto Jeron, but the unstable vortex not going to connect. Jeron has a way to escape. He's gonna try to find it with the ultimate, but instead we're not gonna connect. Bloakley gonna be able to portal out of the danger, but that was almost bad.
He walked right into the enemy clutches.
Yes.
Right into them.
There was 2 there.
Not where you want to be, my friend. But fortunately for him, he does wind up escaping.
But Retribution do now finally have their names on the board. Elexum taking out DineOhSaw, which is pretty good. Start trying to get as much as you can onto DineOhSaw, because Guan Yu is the big point of contention here. That healing, that sustain, it's nasty.
And it's a good thing we see the curse coming out on Amaterasu to really deal with that heal and sustain. And also, first item Pestilence pretty much right after the tank boots. So you've got a lot of the healing reduction. You got the Mortal Strike not just on that, but also on the Divine Ruin, very first item being built out by Zeus. And look at what Athena's building. I'm not sure that's going to wind up into a Pestilence. I think we'll see a different item come out. But even if we do see the Pestilence, it's just tons of the healing reduction. Retribution realized that Guan Yu is going to be a giant issue for them in this match.
I mean, we'd see the same thing with Terra. We'd see the same thing with Guan Yu like we're seeing now. You cannot ignore the anti-heal. Teams make that mistake usually once a season. and then they don't make it ever again for the rest of those games because it usually bites them in the butt.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the healing is just too powerful, especially, again, I'm going to reference the items again. The Reinforced Greaves allow so much wiggle room. You can make mistakes, you can get into trouble, and having that Guan Yu on the side of you is going to help out even more.
Ezzuna using the ultimate, trying to lock down Mango Man, but instead baits out the Athena ult. Might not have been able to take them. Auzrik didn't want to go too hard, but because of that, they still find the little wins because Athena not going to be able to pick up and ult over to anybody else. That's a lot less pressure on Cyclone right now.
Cyclone going to use a little bit of spacing to see what they can do around the map. Right now, Bloakley waiting for his teammates to make that call. You can see he's got the ultimate available to him, and he's been rather liberal with it to this point, but I expect he will just wait for the call for this next one coming out.
And I mean, they're going to be able to see it more. Somebody's going to see it if Bloakley picks up the rest of his team and they go over to an objective, more than likely the Gold Fury. So it's better just, I mean, they're already grouped up there now. They want it, they're waiting for it, they're warding for it, and Retribution know it.
Nice little move by Auzrik there to avoid the overhand smash out of the monkey.
He did the same thing earlier on in the mid fight, and I was so impressed because he missed Amaterasu, he missed the Wrath. It was beautiful.
Just the little things.
There you go. It's like deja vu all over again, but we're going to have a little bit of a Gold Fury dance. Retribution rotating over. They all have wards they want to pop down. They want to take the vision away because vision is important. It's kind of like the anti-healing. You make that one game, you don't put the wards down, and it bites you. So both of these teams, we're about week 4. They're not making those little mistakes.
No, I mean, those mistakes are the ones that, you know, we're in the console pro league, right?
Yeah.
These guys are definitely well established and can avoid those mistakes. That, however, not too much of a mistake. Just good aggression coming out from Ezzuna there to find the pluck.
And I like the zoning. I mean, they probably could have found a kill if they wanted to completely collapse in on CycloneGG, but the Fear No Evil was just used to get them away, get them off the tower. Xbalanque ultimate used, and Bloakley looking to try and find a snipe, gonna be able to get a little bit of damage, but now, Hazzy taking out Jeron. Jeron couldn't jump out, but now looks like Ezzuna in a pretty bad spot. A nice, tasty target for the rest of Retribution, but he's gonna be just fine. Jing in the back line, however, trying to bring out the cavalry.
Anderson, Bloakley walking out of there, no problem. He's going to be fine, just barely escaping. But realistically, it's all about the stuff after the stuff. Kills, not exactly abound, but everybody getting chased out. And that'll give Retribution a big enough window to start and finish the Gold Fury.
And they don't want to get Hazzy anywhere near that because he's the one that stole that in the first place. Auzrik getting out of the damage and Retribution backing off. I mean, there was the mistake last time. They stole the Gold Fury, Cyclone did, and then Retribution completely just let him have it earlier on.
I mean, that's what you got to you've got to be able to make that turnaround play. And right there is Retribution said, all right, look, last time we had to make the turnaround play. This time, we're just going to take the objective, and we don't want to hear it. So, Retribution learning to adjust. They had a couple more people zoning that time. So
it was just nice, sweet, concise, and to the point. But CycloneGG not going to give Retribution any extra foothold. They're taking their speed camp. We haven't seen too many aggressive rotations coming out from Retribution on the enemy buffs yet, which is kind of surprising.
Yeah, it's a little bit. I mean, like I said,
it's not like Cyclone had been giving them the opportunity, though.
Yeah, that's really the key there is the opportunity or lack thereof. So, for Retribution, I would like to see a little bit more aggression, but the game is tied a little bit in Cyclone's favor even. So you're kind of fighting an uphill battle.
17 minutes and 50 seconds into the game, 4-1. Read the kill count. 3 kills up our Cyclone, however, but like F. mentioned, essentially the gold is tied. I'm not seeing too many gigantic level leads. In fact, the only real level lead comes out of the solo and the jungle.
And that's kind of to be expected, right?
Yeah.
The solo lane separated by maybe half a level. Ezzuna has been able to make some real strong rotations that has really helped out his squad for sure.
And I was surprised by the Amaterasu pick. I see her a couple of times, but I like what Mango Man's doing. He takes these gods like Odin, he takes Amaterasu, and he gets so aggressive. He gets in the middle of the fight, and then he changes it up.
And that's exactly what the Amaterasu wants to do during these team fights. She wants to be in the middle of it, providing the aura to her entire teammates, and then just similar to the Sun Wukong, just be annoying, right? You want to dash around, you want to jump around, you want to find the silences, and then of course your ultimate, you want to make sure you can hit as many players as possible. Great initiation, and that's really what we see out of Mango Man in general. Playing on the Odins, playing on the Sun Wukongs, now on the Amaterasu, really likes to be one of the first guys in the fight, and that's what the ultimate out of Amaterasu is going to allow him to do as well.
We saw, I mean, we were a couple of numbers off when it came to our reinforced footwear. We only got about 6. We got 6 on the board versus, oh no, sorry, got 7 on the board.
Yep.
Kuang and Janus opting out instead, going for that bit more power, and that fits their kids better, right?
Sure. You know, even the Janus, I think I don't want to say like to see, but I think it would be a good choice to see the defensive option for the Janus. The Kuang, however, you want to be all the power of the world, getting your players down to that execute range as quickly as possible.
3-man rotation. They find Ezzuna in the jungle, however, start to come in on that, but the ultimates are being popped, and Zeus, good zoning coming out, but Mango Man trying to find Bloakley, but a nice portal once again. It's so hard to lock down that Janus.
Looking to lock down somebody else, though. There's the Athena taunt, rather, but it's all about the backside. Trouble for Retribution. DineOhSaw. Not quite a support right there, just supporting himself, taking on the 1v2 and being successful with the kill. Retribution now responding in kind. It's 3-on-1. Auzrik gonna join the party, but trouble.
Trouble in paradise. Jeron gonna be able to jump away, but DineOhSaw is still alive, taking a little bit of damage from that ultimate, but still able to portal through. And now falling through a portal is CobbY getting plugged back and then snacked on. Auzrik putting another number on the board, and now this has turned a lot different for Retribution than they wanted it to.
Janus, Guan Yu, Janus. Guan Yu has worked out fantastically, synergizing well with the extended team fights, synergizing well with the extended lifespan of these characters, just making it happen. And then everybody's wearing the tank boots, but should you get into a bad spot, should you look like you're gonna die, Janus is just gonna open a door.
Exactly. I mean, you have a way to escape. Bloakley, use the ultimate and then use the portal. The ultimate lets them come on through the portal, stalls them as they try to get away because the rest of the team's here. They took too long, they tried to find the kills, and they couldn't lock it down.
A lot of plays really coming out of the jungle as well. Our buddy Auzrik here on the Kuang, making the right choices a lot of the time, able to find these executes, really bring a lot of the damage, or a lot of the effective damage. He's right there in the middle, but like I said, the executes are really coming into play here, able to fish people down to about 30%, and then pull the trigger, and he's really making it work.
And because of that fight, which Retribution started and Cyclone definitely finished, they lost a tower.
Yep.
CycloneGG continuing to bolster their coffers, even with, Gold Fury's still up too. So they can continue to just start to make this lead in their favor.
That's how you got to do it. Very rarely do we see the game that we saw last time around where there was just a, okay, well, everybody died at the same time. I guess we'll push forward. Usually it's just step by step. You're going to see this play, and then maybe we see the tower go down, then maybe a Gold Fury, maybe a couple more kills, maybe another tower. Step by step by step. You're not going to win everything in a landslide. There's no lottery in Smite.
Nah, it's just a domino effect. You just keep going, one thing leads to another, and it causes an effect. So there's a reason why everything's happening, and there's a reason Cyclone are going for who they're going for. Amaterasu, 0-2-1, getting killed twice. Athena, 0-2-1. And look at Xbalanque, he has 0 stacks when it comes to his passive, because he's 0-0-1.
He just hasn't been active, and I mean, there's not much to be active with. Retribution has a single kill in this game. Cyclone been doing a very good job at staying alive, and I think a little bit of that has to do with the Guan Yu.
And we haven't seen a lot of Welshbeastq when it comes to these big team fights. And now I feel like, we haven't seen a lot of big team fights in the first place, but now we're getting to the point where he's almost level 20 and we haven't seen him. So when he gets into these fights, I think it's going to be really nice for Retribution.
And that's the idea, and that's why you pick a character like Xbalanque. 20 is obviously...
Oh, Jeron. Oh, he just got bursted. Ezzuna getting that last hit, but the CC chain after CC chain. And then, of course, the damage being pumped out by Bloakley on the Janus. Mango Man can compete. He's using the ultimate to try and get away, just find that stun. Not gonna find the snipe coming out from Bloakley, and instead, Mango Man gonna be able to get out.
And Auzrik wraps around, but he's not gonna be able to find much of anything either. But instead, Cyclone uses his opportunity to start the Gold Fury. Here comes the members of Retribution. Try to steal one more time. Gold Fury down to about 25%.
Gold Fury down to 25%, and now the rest of the team is here to try and take it out, but Gold Fury has fallen down, and Retribution gonna be able to take it for themselves instead. And now Elexum that was all on the back of Elexum, but now he's stuck in the back line. He's stuck in this pit.
There's a stack.
They're just stacking on top of each other, and the chain lightning keeps going. There's so many AoE abilities, and Welshbeastq gonna find the stack once again, and now forcing out his own sanctuary. Good taunt coming out. Ezzuna getting off of Welshbeastq, and still, they're still looking for it. CycloneGG need to get out.
And trouble now, Ezzuna. I thought Welshbeastq was gonna wind up with a third stack and then engagement. Instead, Ezzuna able to turn things around, but hey, the monkey's back, and down goes the croc.
Auzrik teleports in, but at that point, his teammate was already gone. He can't get anywhere close to anybody with that execute, and instead, Mango Man gonna find the kill.
Retribution able to steal that one away, man.
That was almost a deicide.
Everybody's dead on the map.
I mean, okay, that was almost a map-wide deicide.
You had Jing, Jeron, and Mango Man.
Yep.
Everybody else was toasted. That's just so much violence going on, and honestly, from this set, this has been the Kleptomaniac set. We've seen so many steals, Gold Fury specifically, off of honestly just teams dropping the ball when it comes to zoning.
Just a smidge, but CycloneGG, for the most part, back on the map. We're about 25 minutes, 30 seconds in. These respawn timers are really starting to hurt now.
Yeah, I mean, this is when you can find the holes in the game to really make those plays. Like you should, we just saw that tower go down. It was a minion wave and a single player just bap, bap, bap. That's what happens when everyone's dead. You're able to make those. I mean, it's not even a play. You're just sort of showing up and being a minion yourself. You're able to make those easy plays because nobody's around.
And it's really easy to forget the fact we're 26 minutes in now. We normally see these kinds of plays earlier on when these guys are such lower level. So then by the time it's done, they pump out so much damage already. They're practically shredding these towers with, ease. But HazZy using the ultimate to get out. Good gank coming out from Batz, but not enough.
Yeah, Batz right there. Looking for the, I don't know. That was a little aggressive for my taste.
It's okay, though, because it gets her away. It gets Jing not here, so they can take down this tower.
Very true. You don't always need to kill. Sometimes you just need to chase somebody out of lane to create the experience, and that right there. Down goes the tower, and that'll help out the lead even more so, but Cyclone looking for the chase.
Cyclone looking for the chase, but good for Xbalanque. Jeron trying to get away. Auzrik is within range, waiting for that opportunity to find the execute, and there it is, finding himself a nice monkey snack. And now, mid lane's completely open if they want to keep aggressing, if they want to keep looking for these things to take off the map. But it looks like we're going to have a rotation coming out from Cyclone over towards the right side where that solo tower still stands.
Okay, you've got all 5 members of CycloneGG here on the right-hand side. Fire Giant's actually going to be pulled.
Yeah,
Keep in mind, look at the clock on top. 27 minutes, so they definitely have the damage to pull this off.
And they don't have Jeron here, which is huge. That was a big ultimate. Just lots of disruption for CycloneGG that they're not going to have against them. So now Mango Man getting turned on by the 4 members here, forcing out the ultimate once again, trying to find the CC, and DineOhSaw it's going to bounce off of him.
Not much Retribution can do.
I mean, there's some things they can do. They're not taking this rolling over, but that's not good for CobbY. Got plugged back into 4 members. HazZy gets credit for the kill, and they get out Elexum's ultimate. And that's also huge for the Fire Giant. If they just push them out, they can turn around without any fear.
And that's exactly what I was sort of alluding to, is the fact that it's a tie game, and Retribution certainly can make some sort of a comeback. But in this
Bloakley.
fight specifically, Retribution just don't have much to do. Bloakley's going to fall down to Jeron, and that's a great comeback because that's the
Auzrik.
turnaround, and all of a sudden, Retribution going to make it happen.
Ezzuna taking out Elexum, but not before he can take out Auzrik. And now HazZy getting aggressed upon. There goes the Sanctuary as well. Now that that's down, it's only a matter of
man.
time. Mango Man finding it. Bloakley had a really nice ultimate. He almost completely eradicated somebody. They try to get away. Bloakley gets too aggressive, finds himself on the other side of the tower, and then Humbots went crazy.
And that's, I stick to, so Retribution, there wasn't much that Retribution could do in that team fight. So Cyclone did it for them.
Yeah.
With that Janus ultimate, Cyclone put themselves behind everybody. Retribution was on the retreat. Retribution didn't have any of their ultimates available. They didn't have any of their options available. And because of that, they weren't really able to fight into Cyclone. So Cyclone pushed too deep, too far, and wound up giving up some of their teammates, giving up the Fire Giant. And now all of a sudden, Retribution, it was a tie game, and they had no momentum. Now they're leading the game by a couple of thousand gold with the Fire Giant, ready to make the plays with the win in their sails. All of that brought to you by Cyclone, not Retribution.
Yep, overstepping their boundaries. It got a little too aggressive. I don't even want to say it was cocky. It was just too aggressive. They wanted to take more off the map to have that Fire Giant secured, and instead Retribution just weathered the storm. We were talking about hurricanes earlier. We're back into the meat and potatoes of the matter.
And man, just what a meal they've concocted here. Able to just take the best out of what they've been given. Play the game that you are given. And that's what Retribution is doing. They were on the retreat, and Retribution was more than willing to just walk away. But Cyclone, all of a sudden, they're behind their enemy's tier 2. And Retribution just look at them and they say, okay, if you want to fight us this deep into our jungle, that's what we're going to do. And just almost get the full team wipe. I'm still just flabbergasted at how reckless Cyclone just played that team fight.
I mean, in talking about capitalization on mistakes, Retribution are doing that to a T. Taking down the tier 2 tower over on the left side. There's 2 towers remaining. They have the Fire Giant. They have the momentum. And CycloneGG just completely whiffed on that team fight.
Just nothing. Just poor choice making. Poor decision making coming out from Cyclone in that regard. But here, I think this might be a little bit better for Cyclone. Fighting underneath their tower. Here's the initiation out of the Guan Yu, trying to find a couple of players, but nobody from Cyclone in range.
Nope, nobody there, plus Retribution backed off as soon as they saw that ultimate popped, and now they're going to continue their aggression, just little hits onto the tower. Nobody's there to body block, nobody's there to help out, and not even Auzrik is there. He's got to go back and heal. The tower's gone, and they're losing map pressure as we speak.
Last tower on the right about to fall as well. Retribution going to lead the charge. Here's Ezzuna just trying to do what he can, but the lonely Sobek can just watch.
And Ezzuna's been doing a fantastic job playing these rotations and playing these team fights to a T, but there's only so much he can do, and now we make it HazZy completely caught out of position, but the rest of the team is here now. They're looking for blood, and they're looking for the Firebirds.
Ezzuna's playing Mango Man's game from last time around, and what we see Mango Man do a lot. He realizes that his team isn't having the best game and puts the whole game on his back. That's what Ezzuna's trying to do.
Ooh, Auzrik immediately taken out, especially by the Humbots. Mango Man getting that last hit, but Welshbeastq taking out HazZy. DineOhSaw not going to be able to make it to his own fountain. Welshbeastq taking that once again. Now Bloakley, he uses Sanctuary, and Xbalanque is not letting him have any of it. The Phoenix continues to fall, and Ezzuna is the only one here. This could be a deicide. This poor Sobek can do absolutely nothing because there's nobody here to peel. There's nobody here on the team, and now there's nothing between them and this Titan.
Remember the last one ended? We just saw almost the oopsie-daisy team fight into, okay, there's one guy up, let's go filter into the Titan room.
Surprise.
Oopsie-daisy team fight into, okay, there's one guy up, let's filter into the Titan room. Just taking the game as it comes to them, finding the victories and the successes when they can. And again, I apologize. I like watching the Cyclone team, but that single team fight that we saw Cyclone get a little bit too aggressive winds up giving the set to Retribution. Sometimes it's just a single team fight. But good news for Retribution. They get their first win. This is the first time they've been able to 2-0 a team at all. And they wound up with a total of 4 points, 3 of them coming from this week.
3 coming out from this week, putting their names on the board with a new roster. These guys, we haven't seen half of these new people, and they really just did a fantastic job. I want to look at Mango Man coming out from game 1, though. We talked about him a little bit, talking about the Sobek, how they switched spots, but in game 1 on this Odin, he was such a huge part.
I mean, again, Mango Man, and this is, keep in mind, this is on Retribution. They were able to win this set specifically, and in game number 1, they win this game specifically because of what Mango Man was able to do.
And look at Elexum. This is the Gold Fury steal that we were talking about. I think it came off of a detonate or something. Whatever it was, Elexum took it for Retribution, and I feel like that was kind of the turning point. Once again, I mean, both of these games ended so abruptly, but these all came down to Gold Furies.
Yeah, it was just, you could spot the turning points really, and the lack of separation, the lack of zoning, and the successful steals really were a good motif throughout the whole set.
I mean, and it goes to show, wards are important, and also zoning and covering your objectives are also important. You cannot let people sneak in like that. One person, one fight can change it out.
Yeah, I mean, you absolutely have to. You have to protect your prize, and you've got to remember that wards win wars. Having the vision around your opposition and where you want to go ahead and make the plays are very important. And then when you're actually going to make the play, make sure you execute 2 sides of it. You got to be aggressive on the objective, but you also have to make sure that nobody else can come in and take your stuff. This time around, both sides, we saw many steals, many objectives just being dropped. So,
all right, well, my suggestion, just my opinion, because I love talking about this every chance I get, go play some Xingtin's Mountain. Get a little bit more synergy when it comes to the team. Retribution did a great job, but Cyclone seemed a little bit scattered. But if you haven't heard of Xingtin's Mountain is new PvP. We have it for about a month, right? And it's absolutely fantastic. So we're going to show you a nice, cool video here in just a bit while we transition through. Next up, we have Excellence versus Rival. And Rival looking pretty strong, so we'll have to see. But from me, from F-Dot, from the back, we'll see you here in just a second. Stay tuned.